Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan. I'm a mama to 6 kids and I was formerly a public school teacher. We are getting ready to start our 10th year of homeschooling, and I'm going to share with you today my 6th graders' curriculum picks for the upcoming school year. Okay, so I'm gonna jump right into this because I don't want to take too long talking beforehand. I'll kind of talk and explain my choices when I need to and everything. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with what our family subjects are gonna be. So obviously one of our family subjects is Bible. That will be in a completely separate video. I actually haven't even completely nailed down yet what we're gonna be using for that. But if you're not subscribed, make sure you do, because that video will be coming out soon. And as far as our family subjects, I've actually already done a curriculum pick video on that that's a little more in depth. And so if you're interested in more of that, then I will link it down below as well. So for history as a family, we are going to be using year 3 of Biblioplan. This is going to cover early modern history. So this is a world history, but also has a lot of American history in it as well. I have a lot of different read alouds and resources I'm going to be pulling in throughout the year, and I'll kind of share as the year goes on, but this is what we're going to be using. Again, if you want to see more of this, I will link that video down below. Now, typically one of our family subjects is actually our science as well, but now that I have an 8th grader and a 6th grader, I'm going to kind of have them grouped together and then have my elementary kiddos grouped together. So for science, I have chosen for my 2 middle school age boys to first go through this unit study of the world of biology. We are going to be using the student guide that goes with it that's from Memoria Press as well, although at the end of each chapter there is some different review questions and things like that. So again, this is in a separate video, so it will be linked, but I actually have decided what they're going to be moving into next. I actually picked it up at our homeschool convention, and that will be from Berean Builders. We're going to move into science in the industrial age, which is actually technically meant for elementary into 6th grade, so that covers my 6th grader, but I'm also going to adapt it to fit my 8th grader as well. So they're going to be doing this together first, and then once we get into the swing of the school year, they'll be done with this, and we will move into science in the industrial age, which also will kind of correlate a little bit with our history as well. So that is science and history. Let's move on to his individual subjects. Okay, so what you may or may not know about my son who is moving into 6th grade is that he actually has dyslexia, and we are finally at a place where he is reading very well on his own, and we are going to be able to move into more challenging for him independent work next year when it comes to reading. I'm going to explain everything that I've chosen for him, because while I am moving him into that more independent work because he's going into middle school, and I want to really instill in him creating adaptations to 6th grade level work, at the same time I do want to support him in that transition into a more independent reading type deal. Okay, so the first thing that I will be keeping, but I have not ordered yet, is I am going to have him do some more of the Explode the Code. He's going to do book 7 and book 8. This will just support some of the last things that he learned in All About Reading, which has to deal with soft C, soft G, different special rules for different blends and things like that. And then also book 8 focuses more on prefixes, suffixes, things of that nature. And there's also some reading passages in book 7 and 8. So that will be something that will be still kind of supporting his reading, but also weaning him off of reading instruction. And so he will be doing that. The next thing he's going to be doing is actually something I'm going to do with him and my 4th and 3rd grader, and that is the Fix-It Grammar from IEW. This is something that I have used with my oldest, and I am continuing to use with my other kiddos. So they'll be doing this together. I will just instruct them on like the new rules for the week, and then they'll work on it independently throughout the week with me there in case they need me. So they have that. And then he's also going to be doing the IEW themed writing, all things fun and fascinating. And he has done some IEW structure and style, not the full program, but he has done it. So he's familiar with it. And I'm going to be leading him and my 2 elementary kiddos through the all things fun and fascinating writing. The next thing he's going to be doing is for literature, he's going to be doing Redefining School. And I've talked about that quite a bit over here on my channel. If you missed that, I will link a video down below about middle school writing and literature in case you're interested in hearing more about Redefining School. But my oldest will be continuing with it as well. So the 2 of them will actually be doing it kind of together. They'll have their own work, but they'll have each other to go through it with. So he is excited about joining in that, and that will help a lot, I think, with that transition again into a more independent reading and literature. So on top of that, we will be continuing with spelling as well and using spelling power. This has worked very well for him and my other children as well. It uses the most commonly used words in the English vocabulary, which makes, I think, for a great way to teach spelling because you're focusing on words that you're going to be using often in your writing or communication. And so I think that makes it a lot more worthwhile in learning those as spelling words. The next 2 things are some resources that I'm going to be using for his reading this year, and that is I did buy the PDF of the reading journals from Not Consumed, and I've just printed off like the first few pages so far because he's probably not going to use like a ton of this because he's also going to be using some reader guides. I'll get to that in just a second. But we really enjoyed the Not Consumed reading journals last year. I used it with 2 of my kiddos last year, and so I am actually using it with all of my kiddos except for my 1st grader. I did buy the middle school level one, but I'm going to be using it with my 8th grader, not my 6th grader yet, so he's going to be using the elementary one. And then as far as reader guides go, he is going to be using, we're using Carry On Mr. Bowditch and The Witch of Blackbird Pond are the 2 reader guides that I have purchased so far. These are probably, we'll just play it by ear. We're for sure going to do these. They may be kind of spread out through the year. I don't want to overwhelm him because this is like a very new thing for him. And so yeah, that's what we're going to do. So these are 2 of the books that we're going to be on our reading list for history this year. And so for sure, he and my oldest will be reading these books together and completing the reader guides on their own. And so that, again, will hopefully kind of help him transition into that more independent role when it comes to his reading and literature. There's not an insane amount of writing in this. That's what I like about these reader guides. Side note, I didn't even say where they were from. They're actually from my friend Rachel over at 7 and All. She has a curriculum company with her family called Where'd You Learn That? And so we have actually used some of the reader guides this year with my oldest. And when I saw these 2 on there, I was like, oh, great. Those are 2 of the selections that are in our history reads for next year. So just as an example, this would be for like chapters 17 and 18. It has a before you read section. And on that section, you're going to go over like any vocabulary or like foreknowledge type stuff. Then they're going to read chapters 17 and 18, and it has after you read, and it has a couple of questions, and then something down here like this is asking them to draw something based on the description in those chapters. So I really like how Rachel has done these reader guides. It's not putting so much extra in there that it bogs down the whole reading process and absorption process, but it also like kind of checks in with them to make sure that they're comprehending it and things like that and understanding the vocabulary. So thank you, Rachel. I know I've told you a million times, if you're watching this video, I love your reader guides. Keep it up, keep adding them because we're loving them. Okay, so one of the things I did not mention is his math. I have not ordered the books for that. I already have the teacher guide and everything because we use the same math for all of my kiddos, just varying levels. And so he will be doing Christian Light Education Math 5 next year. And so I just need to order his light units for that. If you're curious about that math, I will link a video to that down below as well. It is my favorite math by far in my 10 years of homeschooling that we have used. The last thing I want to go over is his electives. So we go to a co-op 1 day a week. Absolutely love it. We've been going there as long as we've been homeschooling pretty much. And so he is already registered for some classes next year. He will be taking a middle school level art class. I'm so excited about it. The mama who teaches that class is so talented and she does such a great job with structuring and teaching that class. So he's going to be in art. He is also going to be in a states and capitals class, which will be excellent because that is actually one of the things we needed to do this year with our history. And so that takes just a little bit off of my plate. Of course, we'll reinforce it here at home, but he'll be learning most of it in class on Fridays at co-op. The next thing is he is actually taking a forensic science class at our co-op. This one, super excited about. I'm excited about it, and I'm not even in the class. But if I had been in middle school and that was an offered class, I would have absolutely loved it. So my boys, both of my middle school boys are in that class, and they're pumped about it. And then the last thing he's going to be taking at our co-op is actually a Minecraft coding class. It does not use like the video game. Apparently there is an actual like school coding version of it on the computer. And so they are going to be using that for that class. He's not a real big Minecraft person, but he's got a couple of friends in that class. Plus, it's the coding aspect that I think he's really going to enjoy. And so he's got that. He also plays soccer year-round on a club soccer team. So that is kind of his PE right there, is the soccer. So that is what I have planned for my 6th grader. I would love to know down in the comments below if you have any questions, comments. Share with me what you're most excited about this upcoming year as far as curriculum, or what you're using down in the comments below. Thanks so much, guys, and have a blessed day.